Ready?
Hello and welcome to Rhythm and Pixels, a video game music podcast. This is episode 32-9, and we're your hosts. My name is Rob.
Hey, you're forgetful today.
I just distracted. I'm just a distracted podcaster today, that's all.
I'm also Purnell.
And every week we listen to great video game music from all consoles and all generations. We'll pick a topic, we'll pick some music, and we'll listen to the music, and we'll discuss it. And this week we have a special guest.
Yes.
Very excited to have on the show.
So let's give him the introduction, because I'm still wrapped up in the whole idea. He does the clap. I've done that sometimes here and there too, but I'm not used to people doing like you said.
DJ, producer, and I guess more recently, a club DJ of video game music, and you can find his mixes on YouTube. His name is Dedeco. Andre, welcome to the show.
Yo guys, thank you so much for having me. Very excited about this. First time I'm in a podcast in my life.
Whoa, wait, so we're your first podcast? That makes me feel great. But also that means we gotta step up the game, Rob. We're his first show. We don't do it just right.
We'll go easy on you. I gotta say, I first saw your mixes on Twitter. You posted, someone shared one of your mixes on Twitter. And I've always loved the idea of video game music mixed in a club DJ setting, and you've done it in such a very smooth, very clean way with all the transitions from track to track, and the track selections are spot on. But every track is video game music, mainly from like the CD era. So we're not going back to the chiptune era. But tell me a little bit about your DJ history, because I'm really curious about when you got the bug and when you actually started playing.
Yo, so first of all, thanks a lot for the kind words. Actually, I started producing music before I started DJing. That was a long time ago. While I just downloaded Fruity Loops and. People call it FL Studio nowadays. I used to call it Fruity Loops. That's how long it was ago.
They went through a rebranding for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then I've been producing for a bunch of years, and then I think it was Daft Punk that got me into the whole thing. Of course, I just found out about them and remembered when I was a kid and I used to see those amazing music videos with the green guy, the blue guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Interstellar.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
the animated one. Yeah, that's great. Interstellar,
yeah.
something.
It's a big number.
Interstellar 55555.
Okay.
Nice.
45. So that got me into music production and into electronic music in general. Then I think I bought my first DJ controller. It was 2012. Wow, it's so long ago. And then I just became a what you call a regular DJ, just mostly playing raw house music. Played some parties here, but it was never my main focus. I just focused mainly on production, and then I went to college and stuff. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and so recently I really got back at it, especially at the pandemic.
They gave us a lot of free time.
Yeah, it gave us a lot of and it felt like an opportunity at the beginning of the pandemic to try different things.
Yes. I mean, I was playing at parties before. Actually, the last party I played before the pandemic, I snuck in a Ridge Racer track there and a Persona track.
My man!
And it was amazing to see all the cool techno kids dancing their asses off to Ridge Racer music, and they had no idea. Then I got the green screen. You can see it back there.
Yeah.
And that was mainly to record live sessions of my own music.
Right.
But then it was kind of crazy. I was laying down in my bed in the dark, and then it was like lightning struck in my head. You know, it was like, oh my god, the video game music DJ set series. it was all there, like, cause it was something nobody was doing basically. Like, you have of course a bunch of amazing VGM mixes all around, but like in the video format with the visuals and the mixing, with the live mixing and stuff, nobody was doing that. So that got me super excited about it. And
there's a lot of
people.
That's
pretty much how it went.
I gotta say straight out though, you in your narrative there, you totally fulfilled something I've always wanted to see someone do, and I appreciate that. You did the thing where you go to a party where people who don't do anything with video game music bopped to VGM beats without the knowledge that that's what they were doing. That is amazing to me.
Yeah, you can sneak those tracks in. There's a lot of video game music mixes, like you said, online, but they're all focused on maybe either the nostalgia or the game, and they group together maybe the games together, right? But the idea of DJing a club mix of the music, you're picking the tracks that sound good together regardless of what game they're in, right?
Yeah.
Except for
in most cases.
Your the Ape Escape series that you're working on, right? That's all.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. It's insane, man. Like, because usually I just like a guy, I pick a theme. So like ambient jungle or house music or techno, and then I'll just go by the music. Like I have my library of music that I got from a bunch of different games, and then it's all organized in this way, like by genre and stuff. So that's how I go about it. Except for these special mixes, I've done one for Wipeout, all Wipeout mix.
Yes.
Another one for Bomberman Hero, and now I'm working on the Ape Escape mix.
I gotta say, I'm not going to spoil the topic until it comes up, but I was going to point out, I was actually hardcore looking for specifically Crumbling Castle for Ape Escape for this episode. I couldn't find it, which means hopefully that's going to end up in your mix somewhere, because I was hoping I'd come across it for this episode and didn't find it. It's a weird coincidence.
How many tracks will be in your Ape Escape mix?
So far it's 48.
Wow.
48 tracks.
That sounds like a good mix.
and that's just like 1 hour long, so it's really like intense mixing and a bunch of mashups going. And it's music from the first game, the third one. We don't talk about the second here. Something weird happened there, man. Something weird happened. And also some spin-offs have great music, and not a lot of people know about those.
I'm trying to remember, like they had a party game at one point, didn't they?
Yeah, Pumped and Primed, I think.
Yes.
It was a party game.
All right, well let's start listening to some music, and then let's just talk more about games and life and music and life for a while.
And monkeys.
Okay, so the topic this week, we have dedeco here, video game DJ. We thought we would do dance music or like club or rave music. I found some really fast tracks that I'm going to save for our Gabber episode if we ever do one in the future. I have to hang on to that. I'm hanging on to the dream of a Gabber VGM episode.
Well, I got a track I already can play for that, so couldn't hurt.
Well, I at least have 2 songs for that episode. But we have our guest, so if dedeco, if you could pick our first track, introduce our first track, and we'll give it a listen.
Okay, so I'm actually going to cheat, and because usually the format you guys follow is you have like 2 tracks and then a remix.
Mm-hmm.
If that's okay, I'd like to go with the remix first.
Oh, sure.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a remix I did. It's a mashup remix. It's a mashup between Heal from Ico, the save theme, and Eversummer Island from Ape Escape. And I thought it would be cool to have it first, because I don't know, just to give like an idea of my work. Oh yeah, so this is a mashup I made in my atmospheric breaks mix. And I thought it would be cool like to show a bit of my work, and to also show like a song that will be in the Ape Escape mix, so that people might get pumped for that.
No, yeah, and it's a good idea to see maybe your process, because you're not just flowing the tracks together. A lot of times you have to do edits and mashups to sort of fit everything together, right? So let's give it a listen.
Yeah, that's all live. Like I do them live. Like just how do you call that? Like just live mixing with the DJ decks.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. Heal and Eversummer Island from was it Ico and Ape Escape 3. And we're back. That was Heal from the game Ico, mashed up with Eversummer Island from Ape Escape 3. That was mashed together by dedeco. Wow, that fit so perfectly.
That was a bop.
We were, I was taken to a whole other place with that track right there.
I was eating carrots to the rhythm.
Is that your dinner, carrots?
Actually, carrots, yes.
Yeah, this mashup is like, it's very dear to me because first there's like, it's kind of magical like how these two songs blend together, and not only musically, because I mean you have like all these melodic lines that kind of go together in the same direction and they intertwine and stuff, and it's super beautiful. But it's also like two PS2 games that I find to be like kind of seminal PS2 games.
Yeah, true.
And they're both developed by Japan Studio. Mm-hmm. And I made this mix right around the time when Japan Studios was getting closed by Sony.
Aww.
So
it was like
it was kind of a way to like pay homage and also kind of mourn all that happened, because it got me pretty bummed out.
A tribute,
but it was
swan song.
Sort of a coincidence as well. Sorry, what?
I was like, it's like more sort of like a tribute swan song to the studio.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, it's interesting, like that I've not met another person that was really into Ape Escape. Like, I'm curious, like did you come across them like by chance? Was it a sort of thing where like you like read about it in a magazine? It was like, oh man, I get down with Ape Escape, and like you just kind of got into it because, yeah, it's a franchise that I love, and I'll want you to answer now. Ramble about some nonsense. But how'd you come across the series?
Yeah, so actually, I got to know it through the composer, Soichi Terada.
Oh!
I'm a huge Soichi Terada fan. I used to know his tracks that he used to put out on Far East Recording, his label.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's great. It's phenomenal. And yeah, I was a big fan of the guy. I found about him through, research for my DJ sets and stuff. And before I was a video game music DJ. And then I found out that he made the music for a PlayStation 1 game, and I was blown away by that.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, from our perspective, it's usually the other way around, where we know the game and we go, "Oh wow, he has this whole other dance music background," and it's very, very good.
And I gotta say, like, hearing you guys talk about this, and hear you say that, it makes so much more sense now because I didn't have that history with him. But like earlier in the episode, I mentioned the crumbling castle theme, and that track seriously sounds like it would be playing in a club in the right circumstances. Like it sounds like a DJ mixed it, and now I get why it was composed by a composer outside of the hobby.
And it's like a really cool story, like how the Ape Escape soundtrack came together. Because Soichi was like, I'm not sure if he was a DJ, but he was like a dance music producer for a while, and he had this record called Sumo Jungle, which is amazing.
That's the one I know.
Yeah, it's like a whole jungle record based on like samples from Hawaiian music, I think. Okay. It's amazing. And then like the Ape Escape director listened to that and just came to him and they went like, "Dude, can you make music like this for my game?"
Nice.
And so it's really, I don't know, something magical happened there, like that encounter was.
Yeah, it sounds like they gave him a lot of creative freedom to do what he was already doing really amazing with on the PlayStation 2. And it's great that he was able to do it on the PlayStation 2 and didn't have a lot of the memory restrictions of doing something like on the PlayStation 1 or on the Super Nintendo.
Oh no, it was on the PS1. It was
on
the
PS1?
first one.
So I put my foot in my mouth.
No one you're the editor. You can always tweak that right out. No one has to know your dark secret.
Far too lazy to do that tonight.
So did he do music for all the Ape Escape games, or was it only the first one?
So it was the first one. The third one, he didn't do it for the second one. And then a couple of he did Pumped and Primed, and I think a couple of spin-offs, but not like the entire soundtracks of those spin-offs.
Okay. That's awesome to hear. I want to go back and look again.
Yeah, I really like a fair number of your mixes contain a lot of these kind of breakbeat jungle style tracks from that era, which I truly appreciate. I really enjoy hearing that sound. So let's move on to our next track from Purnell.
Okay.
This is an odd numbered episode, so we're going to go to you. So,
well, my track isn't going to have nearly as much oomph as that one, but I'm going to give it my best. This comes from the game Beatmania 2DX14 Gold. This track is titled Gold Rush, and it is composed by DJ Yoshitaka-G featuring Michael a la Mode.
Yeah!
Michael a la mode is clearly
Amazing.
clearly the MC of Beatmania 2DX.
Oh yeah, like this track. So like reiterate the track, Todd. This is called Gold Rush, and it's from the game Beatmania 2DX Gold 14th style. If you didn't get that from the actual track, because they said it a bit, composed by DJ Yoshitaka-G, whose real name is Yoshitaka Nishimura, featuring Michael a la mode. So the interesting thing about this track is that when I first heard it, and my friends heard it, because I'm in a circle of friends who are like really into like Beatmania games, like Japanese Beatmania games. And when we first heard this track, it became like a long-standing running joke in our friend circle. Like we'll just randomly go, go! make money. We'll just ramble it off or whatnot. But the odd thing about it is that it really got into our brains. Like the track itself has this energizing sound to it that just gets you pumped. And it makes me chuckle at the idea that, as I was saying on the break, much of it is literally just the guy saying the names of the games from 2DX first style to 2DX 14.
Well, I mean,
and it just rolls with it, and it still sounds great.
If your MC is that hype, you don't really need to care what he's saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
A good dance.
Man, the Beatmania games, they look so fun. Like everybody who plays them loves the heck out of them.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you better love them for the amount of work you got to put to get good at them.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get. I've played a long time. I've never gotten very good at those games, and then I've just sort of given. I only play the games with my feet, the DDR and the Dance games. That's it.
I mean, I still play them here and there, but popping is where I end up getting my chops in. But when it comes to 2DX, it's like the moment they started making you hit the scratch pad, but they made it work like a button. As far as how the button streams go, it's like
it's unfortunate.
So it's like you can't like do like a normal scratch. You have to do these like really weird, off-putting like pinky scratches that don't feel like scratches.
Well, no one's really scratching a whole lot to this style of music so much. I wouldn't think so. But I gotta ask, dedeco. I mean, I've heard a lot of your mixes, but there's not a lot of MC, shout outs or talking going on. Have you ever thought about adding a little bit, or have you ever had a MC at one of your parties?
Oh man, actually, the first time I played video game music live was like a friend of mine. He made a beat tape that he recorded on a trip to Japan using only like 8-bit synths and stuff.
Oh,
like
cool.
Very cheap tune sounding. And we made like a release party here. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna play video game music at this party. This is like my chance. So I did something very different from like what I'm doing nowadays, which was like more of like a live show. So I played like a bunch of synthesizers together with the tracks. I did some like finger drumming over Street Fighter music.
Oh.
And one of the moments was like, what was that? The beat from Super Metroid, I think. Like the lava world.
Oh, Brinstar?
Like,
is that Brinstar?
No, yeah. Brinstar, lower Brinstar. It sounds like a trap beat. So
that's right.
So I made like some trap drums over that, and had a rapper friend who was there rap over it, and that was cool. That was pretty cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's something I might want to add. I really also would like to have more Beatmania stuff on my mixes, but it's just so many games in that series.
Well, the beautiful part
I think it's like 100.
Well, the beautiful part is once you get it in there, after hearing Michael a la mode just now, you can just do an entire mix where over the soundtrack, you're just talking about the chores you gotta do when you get home from the club.
You can just scream. You can just talk about your cat the whole time.
Laundry! Feed the cat! Wash! Scrub all the dishes! People's like, man, this guy's really hyped about chores. I love
that. I love lyrics and vocals over video game music. That would be really good. I was listening to the Third Strike soundtrack again at work today, and I was reminded about how so much fun the lyrics from Infinite are in that game. And then I remember an interview where he said like he was he auditioned for the soundtrack, but he wrote all the songs for the audition.
Oh, so you already came in ready for the job.
The day before, and he came in.
Wow.
They gave him the job, and all the songs he wrote are in the game. Everything he did is in the game from the day before.
So did he do like retroactive billing hours or something?
I don't know, but he did all of that, and then he did all of the like round 1, round 2. Like that's all the one guy.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
It's pretty great, yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
So there's some cool interviews of him out there. He's a Canadian rapper, and he just seems like a really friendly, like down to earth guy. But like, it's just there's some really catchy tunes. Again, with that's Hideki Okugawa on the soundtrack. So from my set list, I went all in on the Dreamcast, Japanese Dreamcast music, Japanese only Dreamcast games. So this is a overhead shooter called Zero Gunner 2. This is Stage 7A Aerial Capital for the Sega Dreamcast, composed by Masaki Izutani. We're back. You're listening to Stage 7A, which is the Aerial Capital from the game Zero Gunner 2 for the Sega Dreamcast, composed by Masaki Izutani. And I love all the vocal samples. I love the kind of chopped up orchestra hits. So it has kind of that old classic sound, but chopped up, and it sounds really modern for the Dreamcast game. But then if it's got that classic Sega, for me, I relate it to the Sega music of this era, where there's a lot of like funky bass lines. I think
it's a good tune. Like, the funny was, I've never heard of this track though, obviously, because this game is really hard. I did not get to Stage 7 anything, but I kind of want to now to hear this in game.
Yeah, I was thinking like there's a lot of really good music in overhead like shooters and shoot 'em ups. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be something you can mine a little bit. You know, go and find some pretty good tracks in the shooters.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first Zero Gunner has it's sort of weird, that soundtrack. What do you find on that side? It kind of feels like it's a bit unfinished, but that's kind of like charming to it, right. I think.
Yeah, so this is
it's kind of like thin.
Yeah, it's definitely
the second one is it's like a fuller soundtrack. Like the breaks are very nice. You got that funky drummer sample there. It's pretty cool. But the one is I love it, but it's so weird.
So you'd say that the Zero Gunner 2 soundtrack was a massive step up from the first game as far as like production quality and such?
Man, I'd have to listen to it in more depth. How do you pronounce that word?
You got it. You did better than I did. Shoot.
I think it's a step up. I don't know if it's that massive, but it's a step up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a kind of a lower key kind of dance track.
So is this a game that you had some time with at any point back in the old arcade days?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I'm sure I've tried it, but not one I've looked for. I know the Zero Gunner soundtracks I've looked at before.
Oh, okay.
And for sure. I may be getting it confused with Sonic Wings.
That's one I've never played before.
Yeah, Sonic Wings 3 has a really hardcore jungle soundtrack, which is really interesting. I love as like a lot of these classic shoot 'em up games, especially the arcade ones. All the soundtracks are very varied. Some are like these really hardcore, like hitting techno, and some of them they try to do more of a rock and roll style. They never really fit into any kind of genre.
So, like dedeco, are you big on like the shmup genre at all, or like a fan of any? Oh, Mittens, see the cat.
We got a cat on the screen.
Yeah, the cat's back. Anastasia's back. Dude, I love it. I just suck at it. It's it's so difficult. I think last year or the year before, I started even watching like some tutorials. There's this great YouTuber called Shmup Junkie. Okay. He made a great video on like techniques to get good. So actually I got my first 1cc ever like last year on Mushihime-sama.
Oh, congratulations, because I will never 1 credit that game. Heck, I won't 10 credit it.
I'm not very good, but I got my first 1 credit clear on Mushihime-sama.
That's a damn good first credit clear.
No, but it was the easy mode. Like it's a cave game easy mode, but it's still an easy mode.
It still counts as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think so.
But now I want to ask the follow-up question to that. So, can you think of maybe a shmup or shmup series where if you were given free reign to write the soundtrack for it, like for a sequel, like what would it be?
That's a good one.
Wow, great question. Man, I think I'd have to go with Mushi, like, because there's a reason why that was my first 1cc, you know? I just love, like, the aesthetics and the music in that game so damn much. It's really one of my favorite soundtracks ever. It's like this mixture between organic sounding instruments and, like, this really, like, almost new age vibe to it, but together with like these heavy hitting electronic beats, I'd love to tackle that somehow. That would be amazing.
It is kind of like that. The game's aesthetic is like that too, because it's this really challenging, difficult bullet hell shooter, but it's all taking place in this fantasy world, like with giant bugs and princesses and in the forest. So it's a good blend of all those things, even in the soundtrack.
It's an adorable game that's trying to maim you.
Yeah, it's very, very challenging.
Yes, exactly.
But I feel like as far as the cave shooters go, from all the shooters from Cave, I feel like that's one of their best ones. Like all of their ideas, scoring and music and gameplay, has all come together into that one game, really, really well.
Yeah, and the composer. Manabu Namiki, is that it?
He's done most of them. I forget if he did that one or not.
Yeah, I think it's Manabu. He's amazing. I love that guy. He's got so much great stuff. I'm just not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right.
Manabu Namiki, and there's also another Cave composer does a lot of the Cave games. Is Masaharu Iwata. So
yeah.
All right, so now we're back to you. So do you have a second track for us?
Yep, I do. I was going to pick a track from the game Chain Dive, which is like this absolute hidden gem on the PS2. Like I don't think I ever heard anybody talk about that game. I found about the game because of the composer, who is Teknouchi. And it's just like this great PS2 game, like a very PS2 game. And but ultimately, since we just get 3 tracks each, I had to get some Namco in it. I had to have them. I have to have the Namco, man. Namco is like, I think they're my favorite sound team ever. Ooh. And maybe we'll take a listen and then we can talk a bit about it.
All right, here we go. This is from R.Racing Revolution. Is that right?
Yep.
All right, this is Show the World by Yu Miyake.
No
That was Show the World.
Gotta have the Namco.
Yes. From Namco, Show the World from R.Racing Evolution, composed by Yu Miyake. Ooh, that was smooth.
It just hit me too. Like, now that you mentioned Namco, I didn't even realize I could have brought Volcano Driver on here from Rage Racer. That would be perfect.
There's so much good racing music out there. It's such a great opportunity for like really smooth tracks or just like a lot of good dance music. I just want to drive to dance music all the time.
So now you got me.
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I was going to ask a question, but go ahead.
Yeah, it just like matches so well, and Namco is just like they were on such a roll like in the 90s and the beginning of the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had Ace Combat, they had Tekken, they had freaking Katamari Damacy,
right,
and like Ridge Racer, which I think is like the biggest example of rave and club music in games like ever, maybe together with like Wipeout, and not to count like their weird arcade games. There's two I wanted to recommend to the listeners. I almost featured them, but I wanted to go with something a bit more high energy in the end, and that's Aqua Rush and Rapid River. Those two soundtracks, they make no sense. They make no sense how good
that was the arcade game where you were like pretty much like rowing and like trying to get coins while rowing down the river.
Yes.
Yeah, man, exactly.
I had not thought about that game in years, let alone think of the soundtrack.
That game has like this ambient jungle soundtrack that's super deep to it. It's like it's really overachieving, you know, what those guys were doing.
I used to work in an arcade long ago, and the machine was a very large, wide screen, and there was essentially like a big plastic raft and a huge oar that was enough for two people to hang on to, and the game was essentially just oaring, moving the oar back and forth like you're going through a river. And
it tired you out.
And it was only like 4 or 5 stages, but by the 5th stage, you have to do it so hard. And if you're not doing it with another person, it is exhausting. But in an arcade, I never heard the music to it. All I heard was just like a tracked sound, and then people like maybe playing it and just. If I remember clunking on the machine, it was just so interesting. And
if I remember correctly, the actual raft itself actually had like a force feedback feature going on too, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Wow, I'm gonna look that up now. That's so interesting.
Yeah, you're gonna be surprised, man. It's maybe it's even a bit out of place because it's like so so deep, like really deep jungle.
Was it a Namco game that was that other one, a prop cycle?
Yeah,
like you're on the bicycle. That's
you're chasing the balloons.
Yeah, chasing balloons.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that was probably one of if not my favorite like weird arcade vehicle games because it used to be Top Skater, but ultimately Prop Cycle is the one that ended up taking the mantle for that.
People would come into the arcade. The kids would play on Prop Cycle, so they would do a bike machine, and then they would get an arm workout doing the Rapid River.
Like I stayed by the balloons like for years, and honestly, even in the present, I've gone to like gyms to try to exercise and the like, and you look around all the different weird machines they've got, and you remember the games we used to play like Prop Cycle. Like, why don't they have something like that here?
Yeah.
Like, imagine how much harder you'd work on the cycle station if you're trying to pop balloons for points instead of just riding in place watching the news on TV.
Yeah, I'd be much more motivated rather than watching the news, which just makes me sad.
Yeah, like get that high score. Like, man, our customers are losing so much weight lately. What's going on? Well, have you seen the high scoreboard?
Yeah, and then you have so there's a franchise of gyms called Orange Theory, and it's kind of like how at your boxing gym where you wear a heart rate monitor, and they track your heart rate and how many calories you've burned, and there's like a whole scorekeeping system.
Really?
And it's a contest to see who can like either stay in the zone for longer minutes or keep their heart rate at a certain rate.
So what you're telling me is I need another gym membership. That sounds like my alley.
It looks like a lot of fun, but yeah, they've kind of gamified. I guess you would call it gamified the workout. So I went to an IT convention called Spice World. It's for Spiceworks, which is an IT website. And at the same time,
is that put on by Techie Spice?
It was Scary Spice.
Oh, Scary Spice did. Okay.
Scary Spice got into the Spice Girls got into the Spice World. But next to it was at the same time there was a convention for Orange Theory, And so it was a bunch of nerds and then a bunch of fitness nerds. It was kind of fun. Did not mix well. All right, so my next track, I'm going to play from another Dreamcast game, which I've heard of before, but I didn't realize this is a rhythm game. A rhythm game based on Puyo Puyo characters.
Da!
Puyo Puyo Da. You know the game. For the Sega Dreamcast. I don't know the composer for this track, but it is a fun one. This is called the Hip House Compile Classix 1995 from Puyo Puyo Da.
Just
talking about having people just randomly talk over tracks, and there you go. That was Hip House Compile Classix 95 from Puyo Puyo Da for the Sega Dreamcast, which Pernell, you remembered quite a bit of that music.
Oh yeah, I played this stage a lot because I failed at it a lot. Puyo Puyo Da is a really tough game, actually, but it was interesting and such a departure from the whole series because they took all the characters and gave them like I think R.Racing, who was the main character of the franchise, they gave her like a b-boy cap.
Awesome.
And like Junko jeans. She was like just doing like breakdancing and stuff. It was a really great game.
So from what I've seen from the playthrough, it's like it's like a one-on-one style game. You got two 3D characters of these Puyo Puyo characters, but like the dancing, I mean, Bust a Move has been out for a while, but they kind of dance like kind of just like Sims, like side to side. And every once in a while, they'll very slowly go into like a breakdance move, and then they sort of sway back and forth again.
Yeah, because my memory might be a little loose on this, but the thing about this, like, so before this game came out, we already had like Bust a Move, like you said, or Bust a Groove for the States for folks who are like, what are you guys talking about? So in that game, the dancing was a little bit more dynamic because the button inputs that you would put in would determine essentially what dance moves they were going to do. You were like leveling up the dance skill to their best dance moves.
And then Fever Time, baby.
And that's when it all broke loose.
Fever.
But Puyo Puyo Da, it was more along the lines of like there's a long bar at the bottom of the screen and arrows were scrolling by in the shape of Puyo or they were basically arrows, but they were Puyo-shaped oil arrows, whatever. And the dancing itself was not so much based on the arrows you were pressing. They were just doing a routine. I want to say they did flub if you screwed up a lot, but I'm not even remembering them doing that.
So it was just kind of like a Beatmania style, hit the button to the music game, but going left to right rather than up and down.
Yep.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But it was still fun, just very difficult. The timing was tough, and when you started getting to the harder levels, they had some really complicated arrow patterns to do on a Dreamcast controller.
Yeah, older rhythm games, I feel like the input and the lag, like they were still figuring that stuff out, especially on home versions, where that could be different depending on the monitor you were playing on, the TV you were playing on, all that stuff.
My big Mega Baby Magnavox, I missed that TV.
That thing was, those TVs weighed a ton. dedeco, do you still play classic games on classic televisions, or do you find a way to emulate them or get them on?
Yeah, I have a huge CRT right next to you.
Nice.
Yes.
Actually, I got it as a gift from a friend. And was like, man, it's there. You just have to pick it up. I'm like, okay. I arrived there and realized I have to go down 5 stories of stairs. Carrying the thing.
What size was it?
Man, it's huge. It's 27 inches.
Oh, so how was the back replacement?
Yeah.
I'm just teasing.
I'm working on that. I think I'm gonna need it. Like sometimes if I carry heavy stuff nowadays, I remember that day, you know?
Yes.
Like when I got to the street, I couldn't lift it anymore to put it in my car. So there was like a biker going by. I just waved at him. I'm like, dude, please help me with this giant TV. and he helped me put it back in the car. But yeah, man, I love CRTs. There's this great Twitter guy that makes like these comparisons between like the sharp pixels on LCD and the CRT monitors, and it's just like night and day the difference. It's I think the pixel art becomes more like a painting or something like this.
Yes.
It looks so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love it.
Pixels kind of
and
they bleed
it's got
together.
0 lag, so I love that as well.
I will say one thing about that. I don't hear a lot of people mention. It's probably just a weird thing to like about CRTs or certain CRTs. I like the hum that the tube gives off.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
I like the hum. It feels great. It's like, that's some classic sound right there. But because it reminds me of like when I was a kid, like in my later teens anyway. Like I would go to sleep, and I was one of the kids that kind of wanted to have the TV on in the background just to have some noise and audio in the room while I slept. And also kind of just having that light glaring too. So obviously when TV went out for the night and your TV's still on, like you just get this like that quiet hum from the television itself, and I could sleep to that.
Yeah, the xenon tube or whatever sort of powering down. There's a DDR player that I really like. He streams on Twitch, and he owns like I do, like just a pad and an LCD screen, but he owns one of the older machines. And the CRTs, eventually they have problems, and he has to figure out ways to replace little parts and find ways to repair them. And there are so few people left in the world who know enough about these things to repair them, and they're so dangerous.
And even
they're
just
so dangerous.
Like, you have to get the parts too, right? How they
you
come
have
across those?
You have to find the parts, usually secondhand, or someone is making them really specially. And then when you open them up, they're so charged. You have to like decharge.
Yeah, you can totally die because of a CRT TV.
That was an awesome stream. He had like these enormous rubber gloves on, and he said, "Okay, I did the thing. Now let's make sure I did the right thing." It was just like terrifying. Everyone's like waiting for him to blow up on stream. He did not, by the way, but
that is a relief thing.
It didn't fully fix his CRT. It was still kind of weirdly green. But
that's the best he could do under the circumstances.
Yeah. All right. So I skipped your round. So
my tears won't stop flowing.
So why don't we
buckets of them.
we're on to Pernell. Pernell, what you got?
So my last track comes from the game Ribi. I've mentioned it on the show at least once or twice before.
Oh, we played a few tracks. It's got a great. I mean, it's really clearly 2 composers on the soundtrack, as one's more dancey than the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure which of the 2 did this track, but we'll figure it out. The track is called Brawl Breaks and is composed by 3R2 or Triodust.
I think it's going to be Triodust because I know I've seen that name a lot before. So let's go. This is from Rabi, Ribi.
So, welcome back. You're listening to Brawl Breaks from the game Rabi Ribi, released on...
Hold on.
Released on the PlayStation 4 and composed by either 3R2 or Triodust. And the consensus here is that it's likely Triodust. So, dedeco, you were saying you weren't sure what Rabi Ribi was. And it's understandable because this is one of those, like... I don't think a lot of people talk about this game. So... It's an odd premise. It's a game about a bunny rabbit from our world who gets transported to another world where she's become a humanoid rabbit girl. And she's trying to find her master. But in the process of exploring this weird world, there's a group of bunny hunters who are obsessed with rabbits and want to catch her. And they get encased in some weird, like, colorful dust that'll sprinkle over their heads at certain times, which is generally what the boss battles start. And once that happens, they become manic and they start fighting you. And the battles are essentially like bullet hell platformers. So you get a hammer, like a pico hammer that you can fight with, and a fairy that kind of fires bullets for you. And then the other characters are just like spraying bullets all over the place in weird, cool patterns. Like the boss that I most remember this track playing on is a girl you fight on a snowy mountain. And she like fires icicles down from the top of the screen. It'll be like scenarios where like fireworks will kind of like snowy fireworks will pop in the sky and like bring out like circular patterns of bullets from each one. You got to dodge in between them.
Yeah, I always found like I understand like the bullet hell shooters within like the horizontal scrolling and the vertical scrolling, but when you're doing like a 2D platforming, it takes on a whole different thing because now you're also fighting gravity.
Yes.
As you're jumping over bullets and stuff like that.
And there are some times in that game where you'll make a dodge. Like, how did I do that? Because you can slide. You can like, there's like a weird like combo where you can slide and jump with your hammer's attack. And you like a sort of like dash, like an air dash with it. So you get to the point where you're like doing these miraculous maneuvers to dodge the bullet sprays because they really don't mess around. Like it's tense, and this music is playing as you're trying to make all the dodges happen and such. And the way they score you, they want you to play aggressively. Like if you stay back too long, your combo meter goes down, which means you'll score poorly when you finally beat the boss.
So you're like you're encouraged to play harder.
Yes,
I like that. The soundtrack is great. This is the first track of this soundtrack that I've heard that has this kind of sound to it. And it's aggressive, but it's also really like exciting. It's a happy sound.
Yes, I can honestly say
it sounds amazing, and the gameplay sounds amazing as well.
Oh yeah, if you have a PS4, I beseech you to pick this game up and give it a try. It's
a PC as well, right? It's on PC.
I see it is on Steam. You're right.
Yeah, you can find it on PC if you're.
Is it like that Metroidvania with like bunny girls?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
Oh no, man! I had no idea they had some insane jungle music in that. That's awesome.
This OST goes hard. Yeah. Like I'm telling you, the if you just look at the cover of it and walk away. It does cover does a poor job of telling you what you're getting into.
Because the cover and the artwork of like the portraits and stuff are like kind of the sexy bunny girl tropes, but then like the game itself is really very small, pixely, very cute. and very difficult gameplay with an amazing soundtrack that you kind of forget that the game is about, like, you know, the sexy bunny girls.
Like, I actually had when I started playing the game, I did the really dumb thing that I typically do in these games where they let you choose how you want the difficulty to scale. Do you want the bosses to level up with you, which means that if you don't, you know, you can't outpace them.
Right.
You have to just be better than them. Or you can do one where it's like kind of like the bosses are just kind of like, you can actually outpace them by finding the right upgrades and stuff. And of course, I chose the former.
Kind of static.
Static. No, they just kick the stuffing out of me. Bosses, when I win, I break my neck to get that win.
I would say it as the other way around, where like, okay, maybe I don't play as well and I don't level up as much, so that the bosses are just really low too.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. But that would be the second one. But the first one was like they keep scaling up with you. So every time you beat a boss, the next boss is going to be way harder to the point where they outpace your growth, and you just kind of have to get better.
A constant challenge. Mm-hmm. And you play in a very stressful way.
I don't understand. A friend of mine actually made a joke meme
You like
earlier
the stressful
today.
games, man.
Like, they made a joke meme where the character said, I love when people go about saying how they play video games because they don't want to feel stressed out about things like they do in their day-to-day life. But then you'll pick a character like a healer who's constantly stressed out over healing other players, or in my case, always choosing hard mode all your games.
Yeah, I find like puzzle games and the bullet hell games not relaxing, but very distracting, because your full attention is on that kind of thing. Do you have a similar feeling to that, to Deco?
Yeah, sort of. I've been wanting to get more into that feeling, because I think it is possible to like almost meditate while you play bullet hells.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten into that state yet. But I think it's possible, like, to have your full focus only on that. I think it takes a bit more practice.
I feel like there's a term for that. I'm trying to remember what it is.
Flow.
Oh, it's flow?
Flow state.
A flow state, yeah. Where you're not thinking. I get that a lot. I used to get it a lot playing Enter the Gungeon, because you just kind of get into the rhythm and you're not really thinking about and focused on anything else. So when your mind is emptied is when you can...
you can achieve your best.
Maybe.
You still lose on the first boss, but I have nothing left to give.
Those games are much better done with some coffee or a cup of tea, for sure.
Right.
All right, so we are now down to the part of the show that we call the bonus round.
Bonus round 1.33.
The bonus round is where we play covers and remixes and arrangements on our theme. Our guest here kind of switched things up on us and played his mashup at the beginning of the episode. So you have a third track for us. What you got?
So I have some Armored Core now, and yeah, man, like the more I listen to the Armored Core soundtracks, the more I start to think that it might be like my favorite franchise ever in terms of music. Because I don't know, it's like, I don't know, man. I need to think this through like a lot, because there's just like too much stuff. But just at least like in terms of volume of stuff, like in my library of music, can you guess like how many Armored Core tracks I have? You want to take a guess?
Yeah, at least 10, maybe 10.
250 tracks.
Wait, what?
Oh, so you mean the whole soundtrack, right? Or
yeah, the whole franchise. I'm going
to just say that I was going to guess lower too. I was going to go like 20.
I was thinking like tracks that you've chosen for like DJ sets. But yeah.
No. It's just like from all that I have in my hard drive. So it's just too much good stuff, and it's like, cause like the thing that I love about VGM is that, like, before anything, I'm like a DJ and a electronic music producer. So what I'm really looking for, like, when I'm researching music, is stuff that's like cutting edge, that's like unlike anything I've heard before. And like when you have video game music, you have like how do you say it? You have people making club and rave music. Mm-hmm. But those people are not making those tracks to be played at the club. Like, they usually have different backgrounds from the usual club music producer. They usually have different techniques. It's like a whole different context. And like, of course, some amazing things are going to come out of that, just from like context alone, you know. And Armored Core is like one of the epitomes of that. I think there's usually like just super forward thinking experimental techno,
Right.
like really great stuff.
Music not composed specifically to have people dance or to convey those moods. It's composed for a completely separate medium where they can be more experimental, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a lot of
Kota Hoshino. Sorry, what?
I was about to say, I think there's a lot of Armored Core games to choose from because there's like at least 6, right? And that's just the numbered games.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. There's like around 8 games, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, and this one that we're about to listen to is from a game I've never heard of before. It's called Armored Core for Answer. And then let's listen to some music, and then let's continue our talk about the series. The track is called Precious Park, and it's composed again by Kota Hoshino. Precious Park, composed by Kota Hoshino for the game Armored Core for Answer. And that was presented to us by Dedeco. Wow. I mean, that is a sound that was unexpected.
Friggin' bop.
So good. It's just the dancey rock sound, but it was like a dream pop kind of sound to it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I don't know if you guys heard about Evergrace.
Yes. Evergrace, I am familiar with. Pumpkinhead costumes, all kinds of weird helmets for like equipment and stuff. It was on PS2.
Yeah, with like the super weird soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a crazy soundtrack, and that was made by Kota Hoshino. That's also from Software game. And I think with that game, the guy just like invented a new music genre, like on its own. You know, it's insane, man. It's like unlike anything that exists elsewhere. And I think that's kind of like the energy that he brings into the Armored Core. He's like the audio director. So there's a bunch of composers. Like he can't make like the Bazillion track. It's like 20 games in the Armored Core series I saw here.
You're probably. I just gotta mention.
So
I'm looking for this game right now. I want to buy it. I want to buy this game.
I wonder if these are available still. I mean, it says this is an Xbox or Xbox Live game.
I'm like, check.
This one is for the PS3.
Oh, okay.
It's on Xbox too. Like apparently it was released on Xbox and PlayStation, but I'm crossing my fingers. Oh no! And this was a Reddit post mentioned in 2021, so recently. Guy was like, was Armored Core for Answer taken off Xbox Marketplace? So
man,
off to eBay for me tonight.
Oh no!
And yeah, and this one is directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki, the Dark Souls director.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay.
So it must be pretty good. And yeah, man, Kota Hoshino is just like experimentation off the charts. Like there's this, like in the beginning of the Armored Core series, it even sounded like a bit amateurish, you know?
Yes.
And then you think like he's going to move away from that, but he kind of banked on that, you know, and like and tried to express himself through like weird ways. Like there's this drum break in this track, and it's just like it's not looped perfectly. You know? There's like a little bit.
When I first started playing
it,
I
so
thought
interesting.
I thought I had it like doubled, or I thought I had it like incorrectly in my player. I thought there was something going on, but with the guitar and with the vocal,
yeah, and then he adds like those guitars and those vocals and this dreamy vibe to it. It's a bit emo, a bit ravey. Like it's just like so unique and so cool. I love it so much. Kota Hoshino is a genius.
Yeah, it sounded like something Pernell would listen to while he's like cleaning in his kitchen or something.
I literally want to buy the game because of the tracks. You know I would listen to it. Like this is a bop. This game, if the rest of the OST is on par like this, great Googa Mooga, I'm in trouble because I got some research to do.
All right, Pernell.
It's got lots of great stuff.
Pernell, we're up to you now. You have a bonus round track, I think.
Ain't touching that one though, but I'll do my best.
That was my track of the show.
Likewise,
it's hands down. That was so good.
I'm over here. Like I said, it's very rare, and the listeners can attest to this. It's very rare that I hear a track that makes me go shopping for the game itself.
Like immediately.
That did it.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
It was really good, man. This track I have here is a remix from the game Ease 2. This is the Ice Ridge of Noltia Lunatical Dance Mix. And this is composed by Licks under the Levolution label.
Fade out on the organ solo.
Oh! You are listening to the Lunatical dance mix of the Ice Ridge of Noltia from the game East 2, composed by Licks from the Levolution label. This, like, I have a fondness, or rather an attachment to the Ice Ridge of Noltia, mostly just because it's the only game that made me call the Turbo Zone hotline helpline because I couldn't solve a puzzle there for a good week.
That was the Turbo Graphics hotline?
Yes.
Okay, they had their own.
They had their own get help quick line, and I gave them a lot of money to help me figure out where the freaking the ice cape was located on this stage. But this version of it, it doesn't sound too different from the original track from like the PC-98, and yet just adding that extra layer over it, it makes it dancey.
Very high energy.
Which got me thinking when I chose the track itself, is like, I wonder how many times that's happened to us in the years. Like, someone takes a track and go, I like this composition, but it's missing something. It's lacking a little something. The guy goes, I know. And suddenly everybody's grooving, just like, we got ourselves a masterpiece, boys.
That's the artist's creativity, being like, can see something, or just adding a little something extra to something like that.
But, yeah, and is definitely like the funkiest JRPG series ever, I think.
Yes.
Of course, with Yuzo on the decks and shit. It's amazing.
So good. Like, yeah, I'm glad. Honestly, the only thing about it is, like, for years and years, I had no idea that Yuzo Koshiro did the original cuts for these games.
Yeah.
And when it clicked for me, I just became to appreciate them that much more.
Honestly, I think before doing the show, for the longest time, I saw Yuzo Koshiro and I was like, yeah, Streets of Rage, dance music, right? But like, he has a whole RPG background with like Wolf Team and with Falcom. So it's pretty amazing stuff.
The man is a legend. Like, and just to get this out of the way, that is genuinely the reason why when the Masters of VGM thing comes up later in June, that's why I'm not picking him. Not because he's not a legend, but anybody who doesn't know he's a legend, they need an education in VGMology, because I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, absolute legend. All right, so it's been a long time since we've heard from Persona 5. So let's listen to Persona 5. It's been a week. No, it's been a while.
Been 1 week since we Persona 5.
After finally finishing this game, we're going to listen to some music. This is from a remix by DJ Joe, a remix artist that I really, really enjoy. Does some really heavy beats. This is the bass house remix to Life Will Change, featuring Shannon from the game Persona 5.
It's not a game. figment of your alien mind. I'm just as brilliant, I'm just as dangerous as you, so know you find a taste of your romance, fire in every breath, fire inside your head, your heart, down your grip of rain, try to fight in vain, your empire will fall apart. So you know that we're out there, wanting hearts in the making. Can't move fast without breaking. Can't hold on our life won't change. And our voices ring again. Just the mask of the guilty. Fought it out in the debris. Now we know this life will change.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robin Williams. No, this is this was Life Will Change featuring Shannon from Persona 5, composed by Shoji Meguro, remixed by DJ Joe. I want to say like classic DJ Joe sound because he always does like these really big, heavy bass sounds. But like I feel like every song I've heard of his, over the years has gotten more and more and more complex and bigger and bigger and bigger. And this has just got so many parts to it.
I'm telling you, he dug out all his tools.
Yeah, I know that one section.
Yeah, it's like a whole journey. This track.
I know, like halfway through, there's a chainsaw solo, and then two organ solos in this week's show.
Nice.
So I'm glad we got that in there. But yeah, fantastic remix. Yeah, you were right. As soon as you hear this song, you're like, I'm mentally focused on the game. Yeah, I'm so excited for the characters to win.
Yeah, because
it just feels great.
Yeah, like there's something about like a lot, and there's like a mixed contention, but depending on who you talk to about whether the Persona 5 OST deserves the credit people give it. I'm obviously in the camp of it deserves all the credit, but I feel like no matter how you come at it, when you're playing this game and it's time to make that final heist on each palace, and this track kicks in, and the lights are flashing in the palace, the alarms are going off, and you're just blitzing through.
Yes.
You get so pumped. Like, I used to get ecstatic for these scenarios. Like, how are they going to get it this time? What are we going to do?
How many palaces are there, right? There's like, what, 10?
There's about 7.
7? I don't forget. But like, in every time I hear the song, I still get excited.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just awesome. So for more information on the bonus round part of our show, you can go to rhythmandpixels.com. And on their website, we'll have links to the artists' Bandcamps and SoundClouds and everywhere you can buy the music, download the music, stream the music, and support these fantastic artists.
I need a pound of fatback drum.
All right, thank you so much for joining us on episode 32-9 of Rhythm and Pixels. This is our rave session with our special guest dedeco all the way from Brazil. We truly appreciate you spending the time hanging out with us and sharing with us some of your favorite music.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Had a great time.
Thank you for joining us. It definitely has been a great time. Like, Rob's been familiar with you for a while. This is my introduction to you, and it's been nothing but a pleasure.
Yeah, after hearing your mixes and seeing your mixes on YouTube and your enthusiasm, I thought this is the perfect fit. I think we all are enthusiastic for the same type of thing.
Yes.
You know, we want to
Yeah,
get people
absolutely.
interested and involved in music.
Nice. Thank you guys so much.
So before we head on out of here, can you tell our listeners how they can find you online and anything else that you would like to promote?
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube. If you look for dedeco VGM DJ, you can find me pretty easily. I did a lot of research on SEO and all that stuff, so it's working out. Yeah, and same thing on Twitter. If you want to follow me there and hear me complain about I don't know, video games and stuff. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, I very much did.
I think the verdict is set to yes.
Yes, and you're always welcome back too. If you want to promote something new that you're working on, hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up, and we'll put something together.
If you want a good,
absolutely,
collard, if you want a good, collard green recipe, hit me up
we'll
on
talk
Twitter.
We'll talk food.
I'll take care of you.
If any of our listeners, if you'd like to get in contact with us at the show, if you want to say hi, hello, or if you have a track suggestion or even a topic suggestion, please send it to our email,
rhythmandpixels@hotmail.com.
And for a full track listing of this episode, a full track listing of all of our episodes, and access to all of our episodes, you can go to our website,
rhythmandpixels.com.
Check us out on social media and even on YouTube, youtube.com/rhythmandpixels. We have a 24/7 radio station playing nothing but 8-bit and 16-bit classics. And if you'd like to support the show, the best thing you can do is just to tell people about it, tell people that you love video game music or you just love music and you listen to our show. You can also support us by going to Patreon at patreon.com/rhythmandpixels. And as a member there at all levels, you get access to a monthly live streamed episode where we record the episode live for you. Or for an audience. You get also cool stuff too, like there's prequel episodes, additional content. We have mugs and stickers and t-shirts, all available through our Patreon. And at the end of every episode, we'd like to thank all of our Patreon members who are at the highest tiers. So we want to thank Brooke. Brooke, thank you so much.
Thank you kindly.
Frankly Zappa, number one team star, but not
Team Star.
Team star. Yeah, number one star for the team.
Oh, okay. I'm like, whoa, what?
I got there. And then number one. No, the username is number one. We really appreciate your support. I want to thank GameFan44, Mike Myers. He's been commenting on my runs and Runkeeper.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. I want to thank Ulfperson, Vashin8060, Alex Messenger from the AVGM Journey podcast, Andreas Mielberg, Brian Pitt, Cameron Worma, Carlos, Kung Fu Carlito from the Heroes 3 podcast, which I think we're going to have on maybe next month.
Yes.
It'll be awesome to have him back.
For 2 episodes.
Carlos is fantastic. Chris Steenerson, Chris Weisner, a.k.a. Musashi219.
The wise guy.
Christopher Senstrom, Chuck Kowalski, Davey Cakes, David Taylor, Enchilada Regol, Harold Howard, Jeff, the Triple Jeff.
Try Jeff.
Justin Schneider from XVGM Radio, another fantastic podcast. Keith Shusterman, Martyris, host of Re-VGM, a podcast devoted to remixes and arrangements. Michael Bridgewater from Forever Sound Version, also as MeBree64 on Twitch, rocking out, DJing and playing his own Commodore 64 demo scene tunes. I want to thank Rage Cage, host of the VG Emporium podcast. Reinhard Zelkova, Sleepy S'more, Steve Miller, Taco, and then Ed Wilson from the VG Embassy. I think we're gonna go see him. I think it's time to go visit our dad, Ed Wilson. So yeah, thank you all so much for your continued support of the show. It means so much to us. Seeing your names every week encourages us to release more, to do more, to do better. We'll do better. I promise. Smell better.
I got so much. My deodorant game has stepped up.
I'm glad because you always come here right from the gym.
That's right.
So anyway, thank you all so much for listening to the show. We'll have another special guest next week, but we want to first thanks again to dedeco and for bringing your game knowledge and music.
Thank you for giving me another game I need to buy.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again.
Thank you guys. Thanks to you.
All right.
Really. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, thanks everyone for listening. My name is Rob Nichols.
And I'm Pernell.
Have a great week.
And remember, I mean, You've listened to the music on this episode tonight. I'm pretty sure it got you toe tapping in the car or in your office, or I don't know, in the laundry, wherever the heck you listen to a finer podcast. But you might find yourself also feeling like you don't necessarily want to shake your thing, like your mama gave you, or whatever words I want to use that are buzz terms for dancing, because you feel like you might be embarrassed or something. You don't want people to look at you because your dance moves suck or whatever. When the reality of it is, no one cares. It's all about having fun when you dance. Most people aren't particularly great at dancing, and if they are good at it, most people aren't watching them to acknowledge that they're good at it. And same for if they're bad at it. It's all about just feeling the music, having fun, moving your body, and when you feel comfortable enough to do that, you'll realize that your dance music takes on a whole nother form. A form of which you won't want to let go once you experience it. So just start dancing more. Move your butt.
Move your body.